Big deal. That's always went with the territory. I'll see you in Disneyland.
My defense, because I am such a part of it. I mean, I obviously I'm going to bear the consequences, so why not bear the responsibility?
Okay, sir, is she still alive?
You're alive.
When was the last time you saw her?
Mama, I killed Dean.
Brian?
Ma'am?
What are you doing?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Welcome to 50 States of Madness.
Welcome to 50 States of Madness.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another week.
Welcome back. Hope everybody's having a great week. We're a little late in posting this week.
Yeah, we were just a little busy this week.
Yeah, we were busy and we had planned on posting something else. We had a whole different video planned, but
You know,
things changed last minute.
because things in the news change
Yeah.
and things come up. But first, I want to share with everybody my new hobby. Well, first of all, it's not dancing to Michael Jackson songs. Carpal tunnel. I don't know. Carpal tunnel, tendonitis. I don't know, but
Have you seen the doctor about it?
I haven't yet, but I need to. But I thought, oh, you know what? I'll get some of those gloves because I type a lot at work. I thought, oh, let me get some of those gloves. So I looked on Amazon, and these ones had a good score, a good rating review.
Mm-hmm.
And they're talking about, the copper in it and stuff
Yeah.
supposed to help. Who knew it does?
That's crazy.
Like
that's good
the
though.
first night I put it on to wear it, I woke up in the morning and I didn't have the pain like I usually have in the morning where I can't grip my hands and stuff. It actually works. So I try to wear them as much as I can, and I've had less pain in my hands. So I'm really happy.
And she looks cool at the same time.
Well, that's just hard to get by.
I just realized I don't even have my glasses on. So
oh my goodness, you're not going to be able to read anything.
Yeah, so that's okay.
That's okay because this one's going to knock your socks off. But the second thing I want to share before we jump into this is that I wanted everybody's reaction on my new hobby. So my niece and my mom introduced me to felting, and most people don't know what that is.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what felt is, like the fabric, but I don't know.
It's this thing where you can make things by pulling apart cotton, felt, maybe, I don't know. And then you create you can create whatever you want with these things, and you can put them around, what do they call, armatures, but that can be made out of like pipe cleaners, like, body parts that make them movable and stuff. And so I started playing with my niece, and she's like trying to teach me, and I'm doing a head for a kitty cat, because cats are my obsession. So I did a head, and it was like a flat head, but I want to do like a round one. I want to make a stuffed animal that's bendable and movable. So I started working on one, and this is the very first one I've ever done. And you guys tell me if maybe I should quit my job and start selling my feltings.
You guys thought this was true crime, right?
I know. Here he is. This is Ringo. I made him. I wanted Gina's true reaction.
His limbs are quite long.
He's, Ringo was a little funky looking when I had him.
You know what, though? I have to say, maybe don't look at him head on. but
It's my first one.
I could sit here and pick it apart, but I could not do any better. If I tried to make something like that, I'm not even sure what it would look like. It looks like a little fish-like. Like maybe the body needs to be a little bigger.
Maybe fuller. Somebody did tell me like Ringo looks like he's been starving.
Yeah.
Hold on just a second. My cat's knocking at the door. Hold on.
To answer your question, no, I don't think you should quit your day job. But if anybody out there thinks that she should, please, by all means.
I think I'm going to make one for each of our Patreons and send it out to them.
We're trying to get more Patreons.
Not less, but
unsubscribe.
So I made, he can sit if you want him to. He's He's got pipe cleaners.
And you don't have to feed him. You don't have to give him
No.
water.
And
He's the best pet ever.
He's
very flexible.
He's very flexible. So there he is. So I wanted to show Gina what I've been doing this past week. But
I like it.
Thanks to my niece, Bird.
I want to see what birds look like though.
Oh,
I feel like birds might be way better.
No, she's talented.
Yeah, that's
you
what
know
I'm
that
like.
girl's talented. Hers is way better than this.
Yeah.
Bird actually uses like plastic armatures, and she's doing like this massive one. Like she's only 10 years old, and kill me if I have her age wrong. It's 9 or 10. She's
Look, when you're 9 or 10. It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
1 year makes a big difference.
I know, and I'm trying to think, does she celebrate her big double digits? Was that a huge year, or this was the last before her big double digits? I'm trying to think. I don't know.
Anyway, shout out Bird, because you're really cool. I want to be like Bird when I grow up.
She's super cool. She's cooler than most adults.
Yeah.
And so she taught me how to do felting. So I'm really excited. And needless to say, I've
all you Patreons are gonna get. You're gonna.
I'm gonna make you each a little armor.
Just what you joined for, right?
So there we go. If you'd like to put in a request of what type of animal you want, but they all got to look similar to a cat. So
they're all gonna look the same.
It could be a fox.
If you want an elephant, it's gonna look like this.
If you want a fox, if you want a bear, a tiger, it's pretty much going to look like this.
Yeah.
So there we go. So anyways, so that was what we're doing. But I wanted to bring that up because this episode, you're going to crap your pants like I did, because it's not really the story. It's the personal details to the story that are going to make you go, what the like I did. So
and me too.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let Gina introduce this one, because this is insane.
Yeah. So just bear with me. I know you guys are gonna probably once I start talking, you're gonna be like, "What does that have to do?" I looked at the thumbnail, and
it has nothing.
This has nothing to do with.
But yes, it does.
Just stick with me.
And so it does. Yes.
Yeah. Just stick with me. So, some of you know, some of you don't know, I have been very involved in animal rescue for probably the last 10 or 15 years of my life. I kind of slowed down the last few years, but about 10 years ago, I was heavily involved in animal rescue, mostly with dogs, bully type dogs. And so back in, I want to say 2017 or 2018, I met a man named Stefan Baldwin in animal rescue.
Not related to the Baldwins in Hollywood.
No. And he was kind of known for working with animals that have behavior issues. He kind of worked with stuff like that. He had a long history of working in the Humane Society. He had a long list of things that he had done. So he had a huge Instagram following. He had a huge platform. He worked with many, many people that I knew. And so about 2020, we heard that he had been arrested on animal abuse charges. And I'm not going to get into the full story. If you want, it's all out there. It's all Googleable. If you want his full story. But basically, he was arrested, and he was just this past Thursday, 2 days ago, he was sentenced to 15 and a half years for neglect, animal abuse, everything under the sun.
And this is in Ohio, because they took him back to Ohio. So he was in Ohio. He came out to California for a few years doing it.
Basically, he was on the run.
Yeah. And then they got him in Ohio. They caught him over here. They took him back to Ohio. But they were saying he killed as many as 18 dogs over here while you were working with them during the rescue.
Yes, in California. And then also prior to me knowing him, when he was out in Ohio, I want to say was accused of killing just as many, if not more. So, obviously everybody in the dog world was like, oh my God, like what's happening?
Yeah. Sorry, my kitty cat.
Yeah. It just, he's all tangled in
the wires. Kovu.
So, so that was a big shock to all of us. And, I had a friend of mine who, when he was arrested in 2020, they were looking for people to rehome his personal dogs that he had. And one of my friends, I don't want to say any names because I'm not trying to, I don't want to out anybody, whatever. But one of my friends had taken on one of his dogs. And she was beautiful. So, yesterday while I was at work, I want to thank from the bottom of my heart, one of our longtime listeners. Her name is, I want to say Pressy. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I think her name is Pressy. She always has been very, very good about sending us videos, sending us articles, like, check out this story. I think you should do this story. She definitely does deep dives. And so yesterday I was sitting at work and I got a message from her on Instagram, and I opened it up, and the first thing I saw was Stefan's face, a picture. And then right below that, she sent me a video. And then
Gina's thinking, how did she know I know Stefan?
That's the first thing that came to my mind, because
what a small world.
I was like, how does she know that I know him?
Yeah.
And then right under the video, it just said Stefan Baldwin. So I was like, wait, what? I'm so confused. Does she know him too? So I click on the video.
And you're like, I know all about his story already.
Yeah. I was like, yeah.
Maybe she knows that I'm all into dog rescues. Maybe she thought it would be an interesting story.
Because I really haven't talked about any, I haven't of my personal life a lot on here, especially with dogs. So I don't.
Yeah. I think the only time we really mentioned it is when you went to the prison and you met the Compton Initiative that we were.
Oh, yes, with Dante. Yes.
Yeah. I didn't want to pronounce his name wrong. So
yes.
I left it up to you.
So I open up this video, and it is James Renner, who has written a book on Maura Murray.
Yeah, he's an author. He's an investigator.
Yeah.
He does true crime.
And so it's him explaining how they are now starting to link Stefan Baldwin to Maura Murray's disappearance. And I just it's the feeling that I got was so weird. I was so confused at first, and I was like, hold on a second. So I had to go in the other room, and normally I don't open any of this stuff at work because obviously I don't have the time to do it. But I was like, hold on, I need to step out for a second. So I watched the video, and basically what I've learned from this video, and the video is out there. There's two different parts to this now.
Because it's a developing story.
Yes,
he
this
just
is
got sentenced,
brand new.
And I think because of him being arrested in the dog rescue, now his prints are in Avis, and I think now they're starting to make connections to him based off him now, because before he wasn't under the radar. He wasn't arrested for anything, or right?
Yeah.
From my understanding.
Right.
So,
well, according to this, he has been the number one suspect, according to the New Hampshire detective that was working the Maura Murray case. He has always been his number one suspect
because of, and explain because of the background that he has with her.
So he apparently, Stefan dated Maura. They went to West Point together, and they had a relationship. There have been many of his ex-girlfriends who have been interviewed who have all said he's a sociopath, he's abusive, mentally abusive.
A lot of people have come forward.
Yes, tons of people are now coming out saying that he's been very abusive.
There's a couple people involved or that have disappeared.
His mom apparently has been missing for a few years. A lot of stuff is now coming to the surface. I I still feel kind of in shock, like just talking about it.
But it's funny that we do this true crime and we kind of joke around like, how many serial killers do you come across in your day-to-day basis that you just kind of, in passing, or you weren't the chosen one for them, or,
Right.
whatever reason, we walk down the street, we can, but there aren't really a lot of serial killers or killers, murderers. You don't want to, out of all the people you meet there, you probably won't run across one, but
Right.
I just thought it was,
It's just
like,
so
we always
bizarre.
kind of joke like if Gina knew any, if anybody knew any,
Right.
Gina would know them.
Right. Yeah. And I do, and that's honest. Excuse me. That's honestly the first thing that I thought of is I was like, how many times on and off the podcast have I been like, I wish this, or I wish that, or I wish this. And now I'm like, ooh, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Because it's, it's a very unsettling feeling. Just knowing that you were very involved, in this, like, you were around this person so many times. I went back and I found a picture with him. I found pictures with his dog. And yeah, it was just, it made me kind of think like, just be careful. Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you say, because, and it does make you think, you got to be careful with the people that you surround yourself with. And obviously, if I would have known at the time, obviously what he was doing to animals, I clearly would in no way, shape, or form been involved with this man at
none
all.
of the people in your rescue circle would have been.
None of us would have been involved with him.
But it's just crazy how, so this Stefan guy, James Renner is the author who kind of came out, and that's the video she sent with him talking about the update, because he wrote the book about it, and he had his suspicions. Even one of them, his latest one was that she had just fled to be away from her family.
Right.
And so the family doesn't really talk to this James Renner dude. So
yeah, if you guys watch the it's I forget what the name of it is. The Disappearance of Maura Murray.
Yeah, and it's on Peacock. Watch it because they do a whole deep dive into it.
Yes,
and this
it's very good.
Journalist who went to school, the same school, not with Maura Murray, but she went to the same school.
She went to UMass.
She was interested in the stories, so she kind of went around interviewing people and doing kind of this true crime discovery. But it goes into all these details about it. But it's funny, this guy's name is never brought up.
Never.
But yet he dated her before she met her boyfriend Bill, who she was. People thought he could have had something to do with it because he had cheated on her and she was, kind of breaking off the relationship. So he was a suspect at one point. But it's funny how in this documentary, they never bring up Stephen, even though they go back to the boyfriend Bill, they go to the sister, all these other people, but they never look at the ex-boyfriend.
Yeah. And we even rewatched it last night because I thought, because if you go, I don't remember when we did like a pretty big deep dive on the Maura Murray case about a year or so ago, maybe. I don't know. You'd have to go back in our videos, but we did a pretty extensive video on her case. But I thought like if there's no way that I could have watched that and not caught that he was mentioned.
Yeah. Well, they would have showed a picture of him.
Yeah. Like there's no way that I would have not caught that. But I'm like, okay, you never know. Like maybe I fell asleep or you never know.
And seeing his personality now, I would think he'd be one of the people that would want to come forward to get interviewed. Because I feel like based on James Renner's kind of take on it and just his experience with him, like he went down to the jailhouse the other day where he was going to be sentenced for these dog abuse, and James Renner went up to him and he actually spent a few minutes talking to him. I feel like he's one of those people that is trying to get himself into the investigation. You know how they always say like the killer always tries to, get into the investigation.
The murderer is always at the funeral.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I feel like he would have totally jumped on the opportunity to be in this documentary.
Oh, of course.
So it's just so weird that his name wasn't brought up.
Yeah.
With how thorough I felt like they were doing the investigation.
Yes.
And then another thing that got brought up to my attention is that James Renner, he doesn't know for sure, but this is Stefan Baldwin's account, is he's saying that the FBI came to talk to him in 2024 and said that they found his fingerprint on a CD in Maura Murray's car. And she said that he's claiming it's because I gave her a CD.
Right.
And so that's how my fingerprint got there. Which it could be the case. By all means.
But it doesn't clearly state that Stefan's fingerprint was found on the CD. That is Stefan's account.
That's his account. So we don't know where this fingerprint
It could be
was found.
anywhere in her car, but Stefan is claiming that it was on a CD or a CD holder.
But I'm trying to look it up because I actually want to get the list of things that they found in the car, because I know on
they went
show,
through a list of things that were actually found in her car.
And it had like deodorant, clothes, like things for overnight. But I kept pausing it like on when they did do like a camera shot of the list, and not one time did I see a CD.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that it wasn't there. So I would love to get my hands on that full list that was found in the car.
I'm curious to see exactly where the fingerprint was found. I mean, not that Stefan is lying, but again, he doesn't have a very good reputation.
And I want to say, like, did the FBI just say, hey, we found a fingerprint in the car? And he's like, oh yeah, well, I gave her a CD, like, or something, like he fed the information to the cops, or because he knows that he touched a CD when he was in the car with her. They do go into the fact that they really think that she didn't travel alone. At one point, they said there were 2 other girls in the car with her, but I really do think that maybe he might have been in the car with her, or at least
there's not a lot of information out right now.
No, of anything. I'm making speculations. I'm playing detective,
but something inside of me just feels like, yes, he was involved in her disappearance. Yeah. And again, if you're not familiar with the Maura Murray case, this was 21 years ago. Like, it happened in 2004, I believe. But her body has never been found.
Nothing.
She basically just vanished off of a New Hampshire road in the snow.
But there's an hour that's not accounted for her whereabouts. I'm curious as to where Stephen was, because I feel like, when you break up with a boyfriend, you tend to get a hold of the ex-boyfriend. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like maybe he could have been one of her phone calls. Yeah. And he said, yeah, meet up with me here. Yeah. And they met up somewhere along the way. I'm really curious where he's from.
He's claiming that he was not in New Hampshire, that he has not been north of Connecticut, like, ever. He claims that he was not ever in New Hampshire, and that he has the woman that he was with at the time claims that he was here in California in 2004, the night that Maura Murray went missing. But again, that's just people talking. And of course, what are you going to say? Like, oh no, I was in New Hampshire that night.
But however, James Renner, when he came out with his investigation, he had a blog going on, and some people posted on the blog that there was a guy named Stefanos that she actually left with the night,
the night before she went missing.
Before, she had gone to a party and she had left with him from the party. And her boyfriend, Bill, actually dug up some voicemails, and he gained access to it, where she talks about hooking up with some guy from the party. And the people at the party said they think the name was something like Stefanos or something like that. That's really similar to
similar. Very, very similar.
And so there's a lot that needs to be investigated in this. And, if anybody's going to do a deep dive, it's going to be me and Gina. And
yeah.
So we'll get that to you.
I mean, especially now. And they also, if you look at all of your serial killers, pretty much, or anybody, it starts with animals.
It does.
And he does not, like I said, I'm not going to go into his whole case with animals. It's out there online. It's horrific. definitely be warned before you read about the stuff that he's done, because it's not easy to read or watch. But
his dad was a big animal advocate and was big into dog rescue.
Yes.
And people are speculating that that's why he had such a hatred, maybe, and he disguised it as being a rescue, but
then maybe his dad, maybe ignored him a little bit because of his love for animals, that maybe Stefan wasn't given the attention. But it doesn't sound like he had a great childhood, just by everything that's kind of coming out.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like he had a great childhood. There were a lot of things that, went on. Like I said, a bunch of his ex-girlfriends have come out and said that he was, very abusive towards them, and
physical and emotional, abusive.
Yes.
So he didn't sound like a very great guy.
No, not at all. But again, like when I knew him, he definitely knew how to, change his attitude. And, every event that I saw him at, he was always like the nicest guy, willing to help, willing to do anything.
They said he was a master manipulator. So.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. But it was definitely a shock yesterday getting that.
It's so surprising to us. This isn't the first time that you go into a case and it's somebody completely different than what anyone suspected.
Right. Yes.
So I'm very curious.
And honestly, like, to be truthful, it's not shocking. It's not shocking that he could be involved. What is shocking to me is that I know him.
Yeah. No, that was surprising. Yeah.
That's what's shocking to me, because when you look at his history, it's not a surprise that he would do something like this. If he did it, I'm saying, like,
we don't know.
If this is something that he did, if he is responsible for her disappearance, whatever the case may be, like I said, there's, hopefully this is going to turn into, an investigation, and this is going to get, Renner has a huge platform. He definitely, did I say Jeremy Renner or James Renner? I don't know.
It's Renner.
It's Renner, his last name.
I don't even remember what I said.
But he has a huge platform. He knows what he's doing, and hopefully, getting the word out there, and now that he's going to be serving time for the next 15 and a half years, then, he's where he needs to be. And to me, honestly, 15 and a half years is not shit for what this man did.
Yeah, no.
25 lifetimes wouldn't be enough, if you ask me. But so hopefully in this time that he's going to be serving, they will, have time to investigate, and hopefully obviously it's still an open case, but I really hope that for her to get justice, I really hope that they put a lot of time into this, and
absolutely,
and look into him, because clearly this just shows what kind of person that he is.
Yeah, and we're
you
just
have something to say.
I was just gonna say, we're just sitting here pretending like she is not getting completely molested by a kitty cat.
So
a love bug.
We definitely are going to keep on top of this. Renner seems to be doing updates pretty often, so we will definitely put a link to all of his videos in the show notes if you guys want to follow along with that. But this is going to be something that we're definitely going to, and he goes into great detail in his videos.
And I would recommend watching the Peacock show, The Disappearance of Maura
For
Murray.
sure, yeah.
And if you don't want to go ahead and you want a kind of a synopsis, you can check out our video that we did.
Yeah, we did one on her. I want to say it was
it,
about a year ago that we did. I don't know. I could be wrong. But we did do a pretty in-depth episode on her. And watching the show, this story has been one that I've kind of followed from the beginning because I feel like it's kind of like a JonBenet Ramsey, because there's no answers.
Yeah.
It's just you're like, what the hell happened? How could she just vanish?
She vanished like in a 7-minute time window of people being around her. Like people were there. Her car got stuck in a snowbank. Like she kind of crashed into a little snowbank heading in New Hampshire, and that little bit of time frame, and she didn't take anything with her. And so people are speculating that she knew who she got picked up with because she thought she'd be coming back to her car.
Right.
So it's just really strange. Unless, and then there was the theory that she just wanted to get away from her life and start a new life in Canada. And so somebody came by, picked her up and took her to Canada, and she started a whole new life. So.
Yeah, there's so many different theories, which there always is when something like this happens. But I think that the disappearance of Maura Murray was done really well because, it goes into like, her father.
All the different theories.
Just different things. And this one investigator, I forget what her name was, but the woman that, went to school at UMass, they follow her. She did a great job in investigating and really, really digging deep into certain theories and stuff like that. So if you haven't watched it, I definitely recommend watching that. And then we will also post the links to the other 2 videos, and you can follow that because I'm sure there's going to be so many more updates now. It's gonna start coming to the surface now, I think, with him just getting sentenced on, just 2 days ago. I think a lot of stuff's going to start coming to the surface with him. And so hopefully it will be investigated.
And now they can talk to him anytime because he's behind bars.
So now.
So,
yeah.
And I feel like he likes to be a talker. So,
yeah, we kind of both had the feeling that, when he was being interviewed and stuff, like sometimes people talk too much and you look, you don't look so innocent.
You look more guilty. So
yeah, sometimes you just have too much to say, like you're trying to exclude yourself when that's not really what you're doing. So we both kind of got the feeling that that's what he was trying to do, but nevertheless, we don't know, we don't have any answers, but it's very, very strange that this whole connection is
we always knew it would be Gina with the connection.
Right.
We always knew.
So thank you very much to our listener Pressy. I really appreciate you sending all of the stuff that you have sent to us, and she's really doing her investigating. Like she's been sending me stuff literally for the last 24 hours nonstop. She has not stopped sending me stuff, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, she's been a lot of help in getting me information. So huge shout out to her. We thank you so much for that. But and if as soon as stuff starts coming up, we'll definitely gonna definitely follow this case for sure.
Keep you all posted on it.
Yeah. So thank you again for watching another week. And if anybody is interested in getting what are they called? A felt animal?
This felting? No, they don't have to be interested. It's going out to the Patreons.
Well, I know. I was going to try to promote the Patreon by this.
If
you would like one of these, you can join our
now.
Patreon. Patreon.com/50 States of Madness.
You know what? It wouldn't even matter what level you are. I'll get you one. And then we can see kind of like the progression on how much better I get. Ringo's not going to anybody because he's my first, my baby boy.
Okay.
He's based on a kitty cat I had that got hit by a car in front of our house. So,
okay.
But, if you would like to send me a picture of your cat and
wow.
and I can make him look like him.
Please, somebody do that because I'm really, Jenna, if you would like to send her, well, we probably have some pictures of Claire so she can make you a Claire.
And this kind of looks like
Zepp.
Zeppelin.
She made Zeppelin for you, Amber.
Oh, it does look like Zeppelin. I knew I had a model that was in my head. Hey, Zeppelin.
Okay, well, at least we know that she can make, she can make a Zeppelin.
There's
so.
Zeppelin.
All right,
Well,
guys.
thank you,
Well, this
everyone.
is what it's come to. So thank you for listening. And thank you to our Patreons. Thank you to everybody. Thank you, Pressy.
Yes.
And we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.